We have a dream women's semifinal lineup in tennis paradise as we have the 4 best players of the year going at it, literally based off the WTA race. The top 2 seeds, Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek, are going to be looking for revenge in the semifinals after they lost to Keys and Andreeva respectively. But Maddie and Mirra honestly might be the favorite to continue their respective streaks. I'll break down the semifinal showdowns and predict who I think we'll see on Championship Sunday at Indian Wells. Hey, I'm Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more tennis related content like this. Starting with our first women's semifinal between Iga Swiatek and Mirra Andreeva, the head-to-head is tied at 1 apiece. Iga won their very first meeting, which was last year in the Cincinnati Open quarterfinals, 7-5 in the third set, whereas Andreeva won their recent meeting in the Dubai quarterfinals, 6-3, 6-3, which was about a month ago. Looking at Andreeva's road to the semifinals, it's marked by her dominating performances and wins over Clara Towson, a rematch of the Dubai final. She beat her 6-3, 6-love, and then she mollywopped Aryna in a rematch of the Dubai semifinals, beating her 6-1, 6-2. And just recently in the quarterfinals, she defeated Elina Svitolina by a score of 7-5, 6-3. And Svitolina played well this whole tournament, so I think that's another great win for Andreeva. I think the conditions here at Indian Wells really suit Mirra's game pretty well, but I think that she adapts well to any condition because her game is just so versatile. She's been returning very strong, and she's also been backing up her serve nicely, only being broken twice in her last 3 matches. Now, on the other hand, with Iga, she has only dropped 12 games en route to the Final Four, and she just got revenge over Qinwen Zhang after losing their Olympic semifinal match. She dominated her in the desert with a score of 6-3, 6-3. Iga dealt with the windier desert conditions far better than Qinwen, like she has done against her opponents really all tournament. Before Qinwen, she demolished Karolina Muchova 6-1, 6-4 in that 4th round. Iga has kept the unforced errors low and the winners relatively high. Meanwhile, her opponents, namely Qinwen here in this case, struggled with maintaining their consistency. As you can see by the stats here, Iga was pretty even with her winners and unforced errors. Meanwhile, Zhang had more than twice as many errors compared to winners. While on the subject of talking about Iga and where she has the advantage here in this matchup, I think a big edge is the revenge factor. We saw it was kind of on full display when she played Qinwen, and I think that we are kind of underestimating the Qinwen win a little bit because Zhang had her own chip on her shoulder, as of course there's the drama with Wim Fizet and how Fizet really did her dirty and dumped her for Naomi Osaka short notice. And, she kind of has taken that out a little bit on Naomi, hasn't lost to her since when Naomi was back working with Fizet. And, of course, Fizet is working with Swiatek, but Iga kind of took care of that, no problem. Iga really was determined that Olympics loss was hurtful to her, and she came out guns a-blazing. I don't think the Dubai quarterfinal loss was as hurtful for Iga, but, of course, a loss is a loss, and Iga rarely loses to players twice in a row, so she's going to be on go, especially that was Iga's very last loss. So coming up against Andreeva, I think she's going to have a lot of a chip on her shoulder. And unlike Ostapenko, Iga has a little bit more confidence because she has beaten Mirra before. Confidence-wise, of course, Iga is right now the queen of Indian Wells. She has won 20 consecutive sets, and in this streak, she has barely lost games in these sets. I think she does need to have a quick, dominant start in this match against Mirra and try to snuff out the confidence out of the 17-year-old early. And I think she had somewhat of a good opportunity to do this in her Dubai quarterfinal. She had a few early breakpoint opportunities, but wasn't able to come out on top. And I think that could have really made the difference in at least the first set. I'm not saying that Iga would have won the match regardless, even if she had, capitalized, but you never know. My point in saying all that is that Iga needs to be on it from the jump here in those tight moments, which I believe she will. Now, talking about Andreeva, this match will be played more during the nighttime, and I feel like these conditions would give Mirra the slight edge. I feel like Iga would rather play her matches during the day. I think she's been requesting all of her matches to kind of be first on, and I think it suits her well. The balls kind of bounce a little bit higher and out of opponent's strike zone, and she's able to dictate a little bit more with her forehand and with her ground strokes. Meanwhile, at night, the balls have a little bit less bounce to them, which does not make Iga's forehand as spinny. And the last time she lost at Indian Wells was a night match against Aryna in this very semifinal stage. So there's that. I also think Mirra has a good mentality about facing Iga. When asked in the press if her just beating Swiatek in Dubai last month gives her a little bit of an edge. The 17-year-old said, "It doesn't give me any benefit to our match tomorrow because what happened, happened, and the past is in the past." She kind of sounds like Rafa Nadal there. Tomorrow's going to be a new day, new match, new conditions, new country. Everything is different. I'm going to try my best to prepare in the best way for our match tomorrow, and I'm sure that the match is going to be great because our head-to-head is 1-1. I think it's going to be an entertaining match, and we're just going to see who is going to be better tomorrow. Still, even though she didn't say it directly, I do believe that the Dubai win will give Mirra some added confidence and added belief that she can win again. And carrying so much confidence after beating so many high-quality opponents during the stretch like she has. And then I think that Mirra, honestly, overall might have the mental edge. I still think even though she beat Iga the last time, she will be a little bit more of the underdog. Although, the thing is, people will be expecting her to win definitely more than they did against Dubai. I think in Dubai, Mirra was able to play a little bit more freely because pretty much very few people expected her to win that match. She has a lot more attention behind her. It'll be interesting to see how she handles the rather newfound pressure against Iga. But still, I kind of went off on a tangent there. My point being was that Iga has not made a final since she won Roland Garros last summer. That could be on her mind for sure. And she has tended to kind of have a little bit of a dip in form in her last few semifinals. I also think Mirra has the game to really challenge Iga, and that was on full display in their Dubai quarterfinal, and I think she really exploited Swiatek's vulnerabilities like no other player has before. First of all, she kept drawing Swiatek forward to the net, not on her own terms, with short slices and whatever else, and really she made Iga look like a fish out of water, and then she passed exceptionally well. Mirra has probably the best passing shots in the game, really. And then also, Andreeva did a great job of really beating Iga to the punch and going up the line early, changing direction, and really catching the Polish woman off guard, and that prevented her from doing damage. I think that's definitely something she should try to look to do in this match against Swiatek. Also, I'm very confident in saying that Mirra is going to be more consistent from the ground than Iga's other opponents. Of course, I mentioned earlier, Qinwen, she was very error-prone. I do not think that we'll see nowhere near as many errors as we saw with Qinwen with Mirra. She plays very much within herself. She is such a smart player, so that in itself could throw Swiatek a little bit off, not getting as many free or easy points due to her opponent's unforced errors and sloppy play. I do think the faster conditions from their Cincinnati and Dubai matches favored Mirra more, and I think it will be tougher for Andreeva to control a good number of the baseline exchanges and kind of change direction, go up the line like she has been doing against Iga, although I could be mistaken. Still, two main things have me siding with Iga in this one. First, the conditions overall of Indian Wells. Even though it is nighttime, I just think Iga has a different level of comfortability here in the desert, and then also just that revenge factor. Again, it's just so hard for opponents to beat Iga twice in a row. You have to be really, really good. I think the last woman to do so was Krejcikova, and she's a Grand Slam champion. Mirra will be a Grand Slam champion too, so of course she could definitely have that dog in her to do it. I wouldn't be surprised, but still I think it'll be a tall order, and we could very well have a little bit of a letdown from Andreeva. She's been playing a lot of tennis, and she's still only 17 years old. Maybe the moment might be a little bit much for her. I don't know, but I just think that, again, it'll be a bigger challenge for her to keep the streak going with, again, the familiarity of Indian Wells for Iga and the revenge factor. So I'm going to be having Iga win this one in 2 tight sets. I have a 7-5, 6-4 type of scoreline for that. Now, moving on to our second semifinal between Aryna Sabalenka and Madison Keys. The head-to-head is tied 4-2 in Sabalenka's favor, although Keys won their biggest meeting, which was in a Grand Slam final at the Australian Open this year, outlasting the world number 1 7-5 in the third set. Aryna has moved through the draw pretty comfortably thanks to a rather advantageous draw, I'd say. She has not faced a player ranked inside the top 20 all week. Her toughest opponent rankings-wise being Ludmila Samsonova, who she dispatched of fairly comfortably 6-2, 6-3 after having a few wobbles. I think overall it was a solid performance from Sabalenka. Meanwhile, Madison Keys has beat some informed players for sure. I think, and her last 2 wins were very impressive. Of course, the 4th round win over Donna Vekic, she came within 2 points of losing, but reeled that comeback off. And then most recently, she absolutely demolished Belinda Bencic, double breathtaking Hurst 1-1, and she finished with 30 winners to just 25 unforced errors. It was a very clean match from Keys. And yes, the match could have been more competitive if Bencic was a little bit more advantageous on her opportunities, but still Keys was just too good regardless. I think Keys has a little bit of an advantage in that she has been playing better tennis, in my opinion, at the moment. And I feel like she just doesn't really know how to lose. She's been riding a 16-match win streak. As I mentioned earlier, she came within 2 points of the loss against Donna Vekic, but she did not look deterred at all and just kept going. And she was confident the whole way through. And she looks very scary, honestly, because not only is she playing so well, but again, she is so clutch in the tight moments. And that's why ultimately she won the Australian Open, just her being better than Iga and Aryna in these high stakes pressure moments. I also think Keys has a good edge because Sabalenka has still not faced a player that has the power that Keys has. Simply, she hasn't faced anyone as good as Keys, but just, again, the power, I think. She struggled with that, Sabalenka did, at the start, at the Australian Open final. Keys really took it to her at the beginning, and it took her a minute to kind of get acclimated and adjust and, mix in some variety. But I don't know. I think it might be a little bit of a learning curve for Sabalenka in the initial stages of this match. Now, like with Iga, I think one of the biggest factors for Big Lenka in this matchup will be the revenge factor. And Sabalenka, that Australian Open loss hurt her deeply. She was pissed. She really wanted the three-peat. So I think she's going to be really determined, even though she has not been playing her best tennis per se this tournament. It hasn't been bad. She's been solid. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if she elevated her level another notch higher. And she said in her press conference, "It's coming to my mind only as motivation to get back that revenge. It was a tough match. She played great there. I didn't play my best, and I'm really happy that tomorrow I will have the opportunity to get this revenge back." So Big Lenka's coming for Maddie. I think that Keys also might find it a little bit tough adjusting to the nighttime conditions. Keys has not played a match at the night yet at Indian Wells. And meanwhile, Sabalenka, she played her opening round match during the night, and her match against Samsonova led a little bit into the night. So perhaps these conditions also might suit Sabalenka's game a little bit more, as the balls won't be bouncing as high. Keys' kick serve won't be as big of a factor. Looking back at that Australian Open final, really the quality overall wasn't that great until the final set. I think both women really elevated their level, and it just came down to Keys being the better player. Of course, the serve will be important in this matchup. Maybe, I guess, not as important with this match, considering how the conditions are a little bit slower. So I think maybe return might be even more important than the serve for this one. Keys, her power is going to be her biggest asset. For Sabalenka, I think it's going to be her variety, actually, her drop shots and slices. That could be the big outlier. It helped her get back in that final in January. That's what helped her have a fighting chance. I think this is going to be a really good match. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I feel like the quality of it overall could be higher than what we saw in Melbourne. I think Maddie is the favorite, to be honest. I kind of see Sabalenka as an underdog, and I think Aryna does, though, play her best whenever she is not as favored to win. So I really do see her taking this. I don't know, but I think it's going to be a toss-up to me, and I think I'm going to be siding with Keys, though. I think she's been a little bit in better form as of late, and I feel like I'm going to be a little bit wrong because really what says within, I have a feeling that Sabalenka will win, but just kind of using logic, I side with Keys. So I guess I'm going to side with logic right now and just side with Maddie taking a tight one. I feel like the scoreline will be 6-4, 2-6, 6-4 for Keys. That is all I have for this Indian Wells women's semifinal preview and prediction video. Let me know your thoughts on my predictions and whether you agree that we'll have a Iga Keys final, a rematch of the Australian Open semifinals, or do you believe that Mirra and Sabalenka will progress through instead, or if you think we'll have another combination that I didn't already mention. Again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my women's final preview. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see you all next time here on Christian's Court.